everyone. My name is Sean Taggy, the Chief Operating Officer here at Memphis Investment Properties, signing in. Of course, I meet up with a lot of real estate investors, people from all over the country looking to, buy and invest in Memphis and buy rental properties. And a question I get quite often, and I answer and, kind of have friendly debates with people on, is should I buy a property from you guys all cash, or should I use leverage to buy that property, maybe buy 4 or 5 properties leveraging it? And of course, what I like to do, being an analytical type, is just kind of state what would happen if you bought it all cash and see what would happen if you bought it with all leverage, right? And just look at the facts and the pros and cons of each side. And then from there, let you make your informed decision. And of course, everyone has their what they state, pros and cons to each side, and everyone has their own investment risk tolerance and goals and vision and, life and track record. So, of course, it's a different debate. Of course, I will tell you my personal opinion later on in the video, but let's just first start comparing buying a property leverage and then with all cash. So I just have picked a random property on our website available today. 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Memphis, Tennessee, 38115 zip code. The square footage is 1,741, built in the 70s, $1,400 a month a year taxes, and the sale price is $125,000, all fixed up. It rents for $1,095 a month. So you're going to have maintenance and vacancy and insurance and taxes, no matter if you buy it with leverage or with all cash, right? So your total expenses is $4,300 a year. So your NOI is your net operating income. That is your gross annual rent minus your gross operating expenses. So you'd make $8,700 a year if you bought this all cash. So one way to kind of judge how well your money is returning on your investment is called the cap rate. So the cap rate is your net operating income divided by the sale price. So you got a 7% return on your equity in this property if you bought it all cash. So there's your one way of comparing it. Now, if you take out a loan, you'll get a $100,000 loan on today's rates, 30-year fixed amortized loan, Fannie Freddie conventional loan at 4.75%. You're going to be paying $6,259 a year. So with that, you would take your NOI minus your debt service annual payment. You'll have a net cash flow of $2,500. And you would put down $25,000, which would be 20% down, plus some closing costs for your loan and all of that. So your total investment is $27,000. So first thing to consider is that I can control a property for a lot less if I use leverage. I can control it for 22% of the value, figuratively speaking, or technically speaking here, depending on your closing costs. So that's one thing, is that you can control a property for a lot less barrier of entry if you use leverage. Some people, it might take them a lot longer, or anyone, a lot longer to save $125,000 versus $27,000. Then also another thing, comparing apples to apples with leverage, yeah, you're making less a year, $2,500 versus $87, but your return of your capital, since I only have $27 invested, my return on investment is 9%. Okay, so comparatively, 9% minus your 7% divided by your original 7, it's actually a 29% better return on investment using leverage. Because you have way less money into the deal, okay? And you do have a little less cash flow a month. So there's one thing there, and just, apples to apples, just that's the comparison. So here's the real big thing, is that let's say you have $125,000 in capital. Do you just go buy one property, or do you go buy 4 with that same amount of capital? So so I'm going to do the leverage. Here's cash, all cash, for one property, or you buy it with leverage. Okay, so leverage, we're going to have to put down, right, 27, and you can actually go buy 4 properties with the same amount, because this total is, let's see what that is exactly. Okay, so you're at 111 versus 125. So you still actually have a little bit of reserves and other things left over, but you can't buy your fifth for that one. But you could use that for whatever you want. Then here's the real big thing. Something to consider is that appreciation. So I'm going to put like over the years. So here's like in 10 years from now. Okay, I'm going to move over here. So let's say this property appreciates year over year over year at a 3% value. So 1.03. You know, there's a whole debate on appreciation, but you know, just a conservative, pretty low appreciation. You can put it in whatever you want later on. So the property is going to be worth 167. Now, what if instead you bought 4 properties at the same, you know, the same price, and all of that? So you'd have 4 that are appreciating at that value, right? So that's where the big difference comes in. So over the 10 years, you've gained 39,000 in appreciation, or if you bought 4 kind of the same exact properties, you would have that times 4, right? Which is a lot better, right? So you would have 156,000 in equity, plus a little bit left over as well. Okay, so I think that right there tells me, I mean, I'm just going to reveal my cards right now. In my opinion, and where I'm at in my investment strategy, I'm younger, I'm more risk tolerant. I'm going to buy 4 properties with leverage than buy 1 cash, because I can get way more equity, because each one of these 4 properties is appreciating at 3%, right? And you're controlling 1 property for a lot less, and all of that. So the other thing to consider though is, you know, there's cash flow, right? So let's say, you know, the income or the rent doesn't increase over the years or anything like that. So if you bought it with all cash, that's how much you'd make every year. And technically speaking though, this would increase, you know. And then though, you bought, you know, 4 properties and all 4 of them cash flow that amount. So here's the difference with that is you're going to have, sorry about that, $87,000 in net cash flow, or 4 properties getting you 25,000, which is, let's look at that real quick, is 101,000. So yeah, you are making a lot better. And we knew that from the ROA, 13,000 better overall over those 10 years. Okay, so that's another thing to consider. Okay, so here's one more thing is that, yes, I do have a mortgage and now I got to pay $6,259 a year in annual debt service, which, you know, right over here. But what's cool about the debt service is, you know, it's actually pretty awesome because a little bit of that every year is a principal, right? Of the 6,000, 1,543 the first year is paid off in principal, and the balance of that original loan of 100,000. The next year gets a little better and a little better and a little better. So over the years, 19,000 per property. And with 4 properties, I've actually paid down the principal 77,000. With leverage, I don't have a loan or anything. So yeah, I don't have interest, but also I don't have principal pay down. So though the con is I do have interest, right? 43,000. So 173,000 if it was over 4 properties. So you're like, oh, 173,000 in interest, man, and only 77,000 in principal. Well, I see it as like, it's actually a good thing. Reason being, now I'm not a tax advisor, or I'm not, you know, an attorney or a CPA, but you can write off all of this interest depending on your circumstances, and legally, morally, ethically. So that's actually a write-off. I just write that off as a loss. So actually I would be netting back, you know, depending on my tax bracket, a fourth or a third of that back on my taxes. So there is a good thing about paying interest. There is that benefit. So I kind of made a little summary here for everyone, comparing apples to apples. If I bought it all cash, 1 property would appreciate 42,000. If I use leverage, I can have 4 properties appreciating and I'd make 171,000. So a difference of 128,000 better. That right there just tells me leverage is better because you can stack up on these great advantages of real estate. Cash flow, you just have 1 property cash flowing versus 4, so you make 13,000 more. You have principal pay down. You do not have any if you buy it all cash, but with leverage, you are paying down the principal. with that, you can also write off your interest. Now, I don't know if that's good or bad. You also do have your mortgage payment, but as I kind of said, that's kind of null because a little bit's principal and you can write off a lot of this interest payment. Okay, so kind of comparing that, let's just do these three things. 219,000 better, more money in 10 years from now with 4 properties than with 1, and paying the leverage and all that other stuff off. So, and that's kind of calculating the cash flow as the mortgage payment. That's why I put it out, took it null and void. So, I mean, an interest write-off, you probably wouldn't pay. The only thing with the interest write-off, yeah, so that's why I didn't consider the interest write-off either. So that's the difference in that. And then this, yeah, you're paying it, but you can write some of that off on taxes. So now I'm going to leave it to you to really decide. I've told you my opinion, all cash versus leverage, and there's lots of other pros and cons, but all cash, you're going to have more cash flow per property, right? You're going to make $8,000 a year versus $2,500. You're going to have less risk, right? There isn't a debt. There isn't a lender who will be looming over you if you stop making those payments. You have no payments. You don't have to pay any of that. You don't have to pay any interest. With leverage, though, you do have a higher ROI, and it's like a 4-to-1 ratio of what you can control and own in real estate. So you have 4 properties appreciating and 4 properties cash flowing. And you get the principal pay down and the mortgage write-offs. Yeah, so you can actually make that curse of paying the interest actually be a blessing because you have mortgage write-offs on that. So that's kind of my take, and the friendly debate I bring up with people. A lot of people don't really consider all of these other things and really just see that, you know, depending on where it's appreciating every year, it's obviously way better to control 4. And especially, you know, they don't see that this principal pay down is awesome because it gets better and better every year. And they don't see that, oh, this interest also can be totally written off. So that's my summary of buying a property, all cash or with leverage. My advice, take it for what it's worth, is to leverage your properties and get that really a great 30-year fixed amortized loan. You would want a longer, actually that's another video I'll do, you know, a longer or a shorter term mortgage. There's lots of opinions out there. I'll state mine and tell you why and show you apples to apples. So there's my take on it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please ask me more questions or come visit us at our office. We're located here in Memphis, Tennessee. We have a great website. You click our properties tab and sign in, and you can check out all of our cash flowing turnkey properties we have available for sale. We also have a YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our videos and look at everything we have to offer here in Memphis, Tennessee. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. MemphisInvestmentProperties.net is our website. And this is Sean Taggy signing off. Thank you.